Hello and welcome back to Sam and Ham. This is Ham, and today we're going to be looking at the Soulblade Sorcerous Origin created by Sensitive Coyote 865 on Reddit. This origin is kind of based along the King Arthur Sword and Stone kind of thing. Basically, you have a magic blade and it gives you powers. Somewhat similar to a hexblade, but somehow less generic. Said it once, I have said it a million times, I am a sucker for a good spell sword gish. And I think this one does a pretty decent job. We'll dive into it a little bit more, but I do believe that a sorcerer really has the potential, if only because of quick and taste. So let's dive into this one and see exactly what kind of perks you get. So first off, it has the legendary origins. This little table is something they started doing in Tasha's, and I think it's really cool. Really helps give your character some very easy backstory. For the people who are thinking mechanics first, story second, which I won't lie, I've been there before. It really helps give a little bit of inspiration as to where your character might have gotten their powers. And I think these ones all are pretty cool. All flavor, no crunch there, so we'll move on. At level 1, they get legendary spells, which are basically just kind of like the origin spells, again, introduced with the subclasses in Tasha's. Gives you 2 spells at 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th levels. And you can forget them to learn other spells, either from the Sorcerer, Wizard, or Paladin list, assuming they are an Abjuration or Evocation spell. Now, this is pretty much exactly how the ones work from Tasha's, for the Aberrant Mind and for the Clockwork Soul. However, with one noticeable change, is that this one has Paladin rather than Warlock. And that leads to some interesting changes. Basically, because Paladins are half-casters and they get their spells later, you get Paladin spells before Paladins would get Paladin spells. Which I don't think is a huge problem. I mean, Paladin spells are balanced at their spell level. Like, a first-level Paladin spell is a first-level spell. It's a balanced first-level spell. But, I mean, that's gotta feel bad if you have a Paladin in the party, then you're getting their supposedly exclusive spells before they are. I mean, look, there's Fine Steed already on your spell list. And don't get me wrong, this is a fine spell list. There's nothing overpowered here. I think this is one of those things where you need to be a little bit mindful if your party already has a Paladin, or that's probably gonna feel bad. But ignoring that, because this is too cool, you get some really, really, really awesome spells that sorcerers just normally wouldn't have access to because of the Paladin spell list. And we're just going to rapid fire some of them off here. Cure Wounds, Divine Favor, Shield of Faith, all of the Smite spells, Lesser Restoration, Aura of Vitality, Crusader's Mantle, Remove Curse, which really should be on the sorcerer spell list to begin with, but whatever. Death Ward, Dispel Evil and Good, Holy Weapon. Like, these are some awesome, awesome spells that the sorcerer is going to just love having access to. Again, other than potentially making your Paladin friend feel a little bit bad, this is an awesome ability that, well, I absolutely love to have. Also, at first level, you get Chosen Blade, which is kind of similar to like a Soulknife ability. You get to make your own little summoned weapon. However, crazily enough, Sensitive Coyote has designed better than the Soulknife, for a few reasons that you'll see between this and the level 6 ability. But basically, the damage scales at certain levels, you can see there. You use Charisma instead of your Strength mod for attack and damage rolls. You can use it as your spellcasting focus, and otherwise it works pretty much just like a normal standard weapon. You can dismiss it as a bonus action, or if you stab it into the ground, only you can lift it up. Very Sword in a Stone-esque. Very cute. And as their last level 1 ability, you get Shield of Light. Basically, if you're not wearing armor or a shield, your AC is equal to 12 plus your Dex mod. Additionally, as an action on your turn, or whenever you hit somebody with your Chosen Blade, you gain 1d4 plus 1 temp hit points, again, assuming you're not wearing armor. And whenever you have temp HP from this feature, you gain a bonus of plus 3 to your AC. This one definitely feels a little video gamey, but I like it. My only criticism is that I can see what they were trying to do by very much making you want to keep that temp HP up. While the temp HP is up, obviously your AC is much higher. And by making the AC bonus higher and the base AC lower, it's rewarding you even further for keeping that temp HP up. The problem being is that D&D 5th edition kind of has like a standard way of going about things. 99% of the time, if you have some kind of unarmored defense, it's 13 plus dex, or, 10 plus dex plus something else. I mean, there are a few oddities here and there, but for the most part, 13 plus dex is the standard. And getting a +3 to your AC, I don't think is anywhere. But you can get +2 to AC from either just carrying a shield or having Shield of Faith. So just to make this a little easier to remember, I'd have done 13 plus dex, and then you only get +2 from the temp HP, just for ease of human remembrance. Plus, that's gotta suck if you get hit once and you lose all your temp HP, now you lost all your AC, you're definitely getting hit again. Again, I don't think there's anything balance-wise too bad about the way they have this, but I mean, I do it the other way just for ease of use. At level 6, you get extra attack, and very much similar to the Tasha's Blade Singer, you can use a cantrip instead of one of those attacks. So, obviously, this is going to go really well with Green Flame Blade, Booming Blade, all those other good melee cantrips that, sorcerers already have access to. Works great. Additionally, you can perform an hour ritual while holding a magic weapon to give all the magic properties from that weapon to your chosen weapon. So, if you find a +1 dagger, you can give it to your sword. And this is the main reason I say that it's better designed than the Soulknife, because, man, it really sucks having a Soulknife in the party, and there's just no magic weapon. Like, I can't give him a magic weapon. This guy, I could give him a magic weapon, and he just sucks the magic out of it and puts it in his weapon, which is cool. My only criticism with this ability is that there's this really weird line at the end of the first paragraph that says, you may not choose to attack, cast a cantrip, and cast a spell of first level or higher in the same turn if both spells have a casting time of 1 action. I don't know if that's a typo or what, but it didn't make any sense to me on the first read, and I think I understand what it's talking about, and we'll talk about it more when we get to the level 18 ability, because I believe that's what it's there for. But this has just, it's an action, so I don't know if they're trying to limit it so you can't use quickened spells. I don't think so, because I don't think so. That's not generally how that would work. This does have some sad repercussions if you were to be a multi-classed fighter and have action surge, but it definitely a little odd, and again, we'll talk about it more at 18. For your 14th level ability, you get Punishing Blade. Whenever you hit a creature with your chosen weapon, you can spend a sorcery point, and if they do, they have disadvantage on saving throws made against your spells until the end of your next turn. And this means, again, if you have Quicken spell, you can get mileage out of it that very turn, and the next turn too. Seems very cool. A very good use of your 1 sorcery point. And 1 sorcery point to get, disadvantage on a saving throw is a much better rate than Heightened spell, but in order to counteract that, you gotta hit him with a melee weapon, bud. As a D6 character at 14th level, that's easier said than done. And lastly, at 18th level, you get Chosen Soul. You get to be a god and go Nova for a little while. Basically, whenever you pull out your summoned weapon, or just as a bonus action if you already have it out, you can choose to become an Avatar of War, and you gain the following bonuses for a minute. Your attacks now deal 4d8 radiant damage rather than a d12, and you crit on a 19 or 20. Additionally, whenever you take the attack action, you can cast a spell of first level or higher instead of just a cantrip. So that's pretty good. And once you use the ability, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest or spend 5 sorcery points, which is pretty nice. I do like the sorcery. I do like the sorcerer abilities that let you spend sorcery points to use them again. I think that's very cool resource management stuff. But anyway, that's pretty good. Free 4d8 radiant damage plus charisma mod, on top of just whatever spell you wanted to cast this spell time. Oh, you wanted to cast Wish? Well, now you get to cast Wish and hit him with your sword. You can't go wrong. And that's what I think that sentence was there for under the 6th level ability extra attack, but it does specifically say you can't cast a cantrip and a first level spell, so I don't quite get it. I think that probably just needs reworded a little bit, but I understand what they're going for, so I'm trying not to nitpick. But yeah, that is super cool. Just be in somebody's face, casting whatever hell spell you want, and still getting to smack them with your sword, which, again, you are a D6 caster. That D4 plus 1 temp HP is not going to be getting you far. You're going to need all the help you can get, which I think is cool. I think, because there's always a really hard time balancing the Spellblade, right? They're either going to be way OP, Blade Singer, or just, you're never going to want to cast spells with them like the Eldritch Knight. Or, I mean, obviously Eldritch Knight has some really good spells like Shield and Absorb Elements, but you don't see the Eldritch Knight out here casting Burning Hands. So you're trying to fit this really delicate balance, and this subclass does it by just balancing incredible power versus your incredibly squishy nature. And I think that's fair. That kind of fits the gimmick of a full spellcaster anyway, you know? Overall, you know, few small nitpicky criticisms. The wording on extra attack was a little weird, and Chill of Faith, I think some of the numbers can be moved around. And the legendary spells, that takes a little bit away from your paladin. But a lore bard could do that anyway, so, you know. It's all about table talk, guys. Overall, I think this subclass definitely has some really awesome potential. The flavor is on point, and I gotta say, I'm a fan. But thanks again to Sensitive Coyote for making this. I think it's a pretty cool subclass. Really like it. If you guys have any more homebrew you'd like to see reviewed, please link it in the comments below. I'd be happy to take a look at it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.